All right, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Art and the Artist. I am here today with, give me a second, all right? Jacob Siu-Zmuidzinas.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty close, all right? Not bad. Okay, how are you doing today, man?
I'm good.
Thank you for coming out here, man.
Of course.
I actually saw Jacob live paint at the same Piece Unique show that Corey Schnitzer, Jay Griffin. So one show brought 3 interviews. You know, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get right into it, man. Where are you from, and where are you currently located?
I was born in San Francisco, moved to Boston area growing up. I grew up there. Then I went back to San Francisco for college, and then so that's where I've been living. I graduated in December.
Oh, just graduated. Oh,
yeah,
congrats,
just
man.
graduated. Thank you.
All right, awesome. What did you graduate? What was your degree in?
I studied like graphic design.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right, so going into school, was it the plan to be a graphic designer, or were you always, thought about becoming an artist, being an artist?
Honestly, going into college, like I was doing like music. Like I played basketball in like high school and stuff growing up.
Okay.
So art, I think like as a kid I did a lot of art, and then it wasn't until like the pandemic when I really like got back into the art.
Okay.
And then like I think graphic design, I think that's always, like when it comes to the painting, like
Yeah.
I think the graphic design kind of helps because I feel like it's all about like working with colors and compositions and like using text and stuff. So I feel like throwing a lot of that stuff that I learned from like graphic design into the art, I feel like that makes it like look a little different.
Yeah, I can see that too. Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but yeah, that's awesome, man. Okay, all right, so when you were younger then, as a kid, you were always drawing, painting, super artistic?
Yeah, I was drawing so much as a kid.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of like the same approach that I have to art now, where I just really dive into it. Like I feel like as an artist, I'm really fearless and like, because it's funny because like as a person, I'm like a quiet person, but then the art is like really like loud and expressive.
Yeah, it really is. That's awesome, man. Okay, all right then. So your parents, your family, everyone knew about you being an artist growing up, right? Like, okay. So then when you were going to college, or you said the pandemic is really what kind of restarted the art, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so pandemic happens. Are you in school?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, geez, that's rough, man. Okay, so school, you start painting more. You start getting a little bit more serious.
Yeah.
What does your family say? I'm sure they want you to graduate, and you graduated. But as far as being a full-time artist, how did they respond to that information?
I'm still like trying to figure stuff out. So but my mom and dad, like they're really supportive.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome, man. Okay. Being back in San Francisco, and you said you grew up in Boston.
Yeah.
Do those two areas, did they have any influence on the way that you created, just your kind of outside environment? And if so, how different are the two places? Because I'd assume, I've never been to Boston, but I would think they're two completely different towns.
It's really different, especially because where I grew up in Boston, it's like more like outside the city, it's more like suburbs.
Oh, okay.
And then San Francisco, I'm just like right in the city, like downtown.
Yeah, man.
So it's super different. Definitely super different. As far as the art, that's a good question. How does the art affect?
Take your time.
How does the art affect the? I don't know.
Because I would imagine Boston, it's more of like kind of like a gritty kind of blue collar kind of place.
Yeah.
SF is, I've been to SF plenty of times. It's more kind of flashy, I guess you would say, as far as the city goes.
Yeah, it's different. I think there's definitely more of like an art scene in San Francisco, and like just having the opportunity to meet other artists has been like really nice, and just building that community of like other artists.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in SF, you've got like a community of artists around you. Is it? Was it easy to find those kind of people? I would imagine in San Francisco, it's a little easier than a lot of other places. But from my experience talking to artists, they actually find more like-minded people like on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and stuff like that. Was it easy for you to find local artists around you?
Nah, it's not easy.
No, really.
I don't think it's easy. I mean, I think I've been able to meet just like a couple people that I think like I'm like just really like-minded, and I can really bounce ideas off. And I think that's the best way to grow, is just like have those people that you can sort of be in like a kind of like a healthy competition with almost, and then that helps both of you guys grow. Yeah. So there's a couple artists like that, I feel like. And I mean, social media too. Like I've met artists from like Vietnam. Like it's you can meet like that's what I love about social media. Like, like you can meet artists from all over, and it's cool. Absolutely.
Okay, so would you say that? All right, so you've shown. Oh man, obviously I saw you at a show, but have you shown around San Francisco?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
So I do a lot of like vending in person, like 'cause I sell clothes and stuff too. So. Like last weekend I was vending at like a fair in North Beach. Okay. So that was fun. There's a lot of foot traffic. And like, you know, it's fun to make those like in-person connections with people that come up and show a lot of love. So.
Oh, that's dope, man.
Yeah, I love doing that.
Okay. Would you say that like fairs like that, because those are awesome. I always go. There was just one in the city where I live a couple weeks ago, right? Would you say that doing things like that, selling kind of in person, as opposed to people seeing your work online and ordering prints and things like that, what do you think is a little bit more, I don't want to say successful, but where do you get more sales from? On people online or fairs and things like that?
I mean, I kind of see the social media as like this like endless, like, because there's infinite amount to like grow there. Yeah. So I mean, I've made some good sales from online stuff, but the in-person connections, there's nothing really beats that. Yeah. When they really see it and they connect with it, and they just want to buy it. Like, I'm always happy to give them a good deal. Too, like if it's in person.
That's awesome, man. Okay, all right. Oh, geez, I just had a question. I lost it. Okay, yes, all right. So you mentioned you had merch, right? I was going to talk about this later, but I might as well bring it up now. Okay, so you've got. I mean, you're wearing your merch right now. It's fantastic. I saw a post that you had on Instagram, and you were talking about inspiration for some of the paintings you had. And there was one, hold on, I wrote it down here. Okay, so you said one particular piece was inspired by Yamamoto and Japanese avant-garde kind of fashion, right? Okay, all right. So I didn't know what that meant, right? So I had to go look it up, and I was like, okay, and I can see it in the work. But my question was, as far as the merch you have, like the T-shirts and stuff, with an inspiration, you know, like that Japanese avant-garde style was, I mean, it's fantastic. Crazy, it's pretty dope. Were you thinking of doing anything else with your merch besides like the T-shirts? Because I mean, that's a pretty hefty inspiration. I mean, so were you thinking about adding more stuff?
Yeah, so I'm coming out with like jerseys soon. I've been designing some jerseys and like shorts. I think definitely inspired by like Japan and also Vietnam, which I had a chance to visit last year.
Oh, nice.
Like I got so I was meeting some people there, and they sort of they were involved with like the streetwear scene out there. Okay. So I've been inspired by that.
Oh, that's dope.
There's a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah, man.
And that, you know, if I can like sort of put my own flair on it, and then just I feel like people will really jump into it.
I agree. I mean, you guys have to check out the artwork to understand, you know, why I'm so hyped about the merch. Because I think your style, like I mean, even just the T-shirt right here, your artwork is, I think it goes hand in hand with merch, man. It's fantastic. So I'm happy to see what you got coming up with the merch, man. I was
for sure.
I fell down a rabbit hole when I read that. So awesome. Okay, I noticed you use a lot of colors in your pieces, right? And if you guys can see the shirt he's got on, lots of different colors. Was that something that evolved over time, or were you always sort of using lots of different, you know, shades of different colors and things like that, or did it, you know, it kind of evolved to what it is now?
Yeah, it definitely evolves. I feel like I'm always experimenting with different stuff, and I mean, I just love using colors. I think it kind of goes back to my what I said earlier, how I'm very like expressive with my art. Yeah. And also like my background is a graphic designer too. Like that's a lot of colors and stuff. So Yeah, I love using colors. I think it really makes the work pop.
Yeah, me too. You know, when I saw you at that show, the live painting, I remember just looking at you like, man, what is he doing? Like, what's going on? And then when we finally finished, like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah, that was fun. Man. I feel like I really like got into a zone on that day, and I was just like going in, I was like pretty nervous. But then like once I started painting,
man.
Once I started painting, I was just like I just got into a flow state.
Yeah, man.
It was good.
Yeah, I mean, okay, all right. Let's stay on that flow state for a second, all right? Yeah. So you're very prolific, man. You've got a lot of work. Okay. How do you manage your time, really? You got a girlfriend. You need time to just experience life, to be, working on merch, paintings. How do you manage your time to get all of this stuff done?
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, when it comes to the art, I don't try to force it too much, but I definitely do take time out of my day to paint pretty much every day. Or if not every day, then like I'll have days where I paint just like a lot.
Yeah.
And then that's when I get into flow state and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm always trying to just make sure I'm doing something productive, like going to the gym, walking around.
Yeah.
Just keeping my mental right.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's awesome. Okay. Being in a city like San Francisco now, so you went to school there, you graduated, decided to stay. How does that, I know I kind of asked you about the environment influencing, but San Francisco is, I don't know, if you guys haven't been, I mean, you hear all kind of shit about it. Trust me, it's not that bad. All right. San Francisco is a fantastic city. So how does being in that city, because there's some big museums down there in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any instance where you kind of, it feels like maybe you might not know the right people to become successful? Because I've heard stories of gatekeeping, and I would say that it's, with the younger generation, like artists your age, they're a little bit more welcoming and inviting, right? Some people are clicked up, but it's not to the point where they exclude people out, right?
Yeah.
Have you experienced any of that with the galleries around San Francisco?
Yeah, with the gallery specifically. So I am part of this one gallery. I mean, I don't want to like talk shit about it. But I mean, I've only been in like one show. So I mean, I'm always exploring like different places, and yeah, the galleries in general, I feel like that whole scene, like I kind of like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of just like making stuff and then attaching like huge price tags to it. And I don't know.
Yeah.
There's some of that kind of rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. It's, some people make the art for the love of making art, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously you want to sell it, like you want to get paid, but when money becomes the number one factor, it loses a little bit of a soul out of the art.
Yeah,
I think. Okay. All right, I noticed some basketball pieces that you have, and you said you played basketball in high school. What does, I mean, I wouldn't say sports, because you have one, I think it's a soccer one also. It was a cover of a magazine, but I want to talk about basketball in general.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you to want to sort of immortalize it in some of the artwork that you do? And also, Celtics or Warriors fan?
I'm a Warriors fan. I like the Warriors.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up in Boston, it was just different to root for like the Bay Area teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just did that. But basketball. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I grew up playing basketball like year round. I was super into it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love like the NBA and stuff. So it just, and then when it comes to art, like I feel like it goes well with art because there's so much movement and like color and so those different like poses and stuff just look really good in like art. So
yeah, they do. Yeah, those are some great pieces.
And people love like the art, the sports pieces.
No, they're great. They're fantastic. Okay, I was reading on your website, the artist statement, and there was a line here that stood out to me. It says, your work attempts to empower those who feel invisible by prominently featuring masks in some of the work. Now, even some of those basketball ones have, the characters are wearing masks. Now, is that sort of kind of like internalizing the way that you feel? How maybe you can express yourself through the art? I mean, you said you're kind of a quiet guy, but the art is loud. Is that kind of what's going on?
That's really good research there. That's like really spot on.
Yeah, oh, really?
I feel like growing up, just like as someone who's like, I have a mixed race background, so it's almost like on one hand, it's like you don't really fit in over here, but then you kind of fit in everywhere at the same time. So there's some of that. I think the masks and like adding like animals and stuff, just adding these different identities, it can kind of like play into that whole idea of like being invisible, but also like being able to bridge different worlds at the same time. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm just drawn to like the mask. It's really interesting to like paint. Like there's these like Chinese opera masks that I'm really into. So those are just fun to paint because there's so much colors.
No, that's dope, man. All right, because when I was reading, I love to read artist statements because it kind of gives you a little bit of insight into the artist. So and just that one line, that one really stood out. Okay. So I want to talk about sort of infusing your culture with some of the art, right? And there were a few pieces, like there was one, Chinatown Curiosities. What's the other one? It was an untitled Dionysian Mysteries in Chinatown. Fantastic piece, first of all. All right, so is it important to you to show, I mean, maybe not the complete piece, but some of the aspects of your culture
for sure.
into your artwork?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I definitely, especially lately, I've been diving back and sort of trying to celebrate some of my Chinese background. Because growing up, we would come to San Francisco, and like that's where my grandparents, who were Chinese, and they would show us around Chinatown. And so, I mean, going back to San Francisco and just being able to like explore Chinatown, like as a as a grown person now, is cool, and be able to put that into my art. And like, so lately, I've been adding like clippings from like Chinese newspapers and stuff as sort of like collage into my work. Because my grandfather used to always be reading that like in the morning.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's cool. It sort of adds like a personal touch.
I agree. I saw like a time lapse painting that you did. And you were writing Chinese characters. Do you write? Is that like? Okay, I was like, oh, that is insane. All right, I mean, it looks fantastic. I thought, how? What else does this guy do?
I wish. Okay. I want to learn like Cantonese, but it's hard. That's awesome. I mean, it looks great, though. It looks great in the artwork. It really does. Appreciate it.
Okay, I want to talk about, I'm kind of all over the place with this interview, but every time you say something, it makes me think of a question. So do you remember the first time you were able to show, right? And first time you were in a, solo show, group show, whatever it was, and do you remember the feeling that gave you? Like, was it, I don't want to say, like, oh, I've completely made it, but it's got to feel pretty good. I mean, because that's a pretty big step in an artist's career to be in a gallery show. Okay. So how was your first experience?
It was good. It was good. I think it kind of made me just like hungry for more because something you kind of like, for me, I'm just like always looking at the way people react to my art. And so like sometimes I'm like, damn, I should have done something else. But so I don't know. It's cool. It definitely makes me like want more and just want to keep going. And it is rewarding to see like your hard work sort of pay off.
Okay. All right. So were you always painting? Was that your first medium that you were like pretty serious about? And have you ever worked any other types of mediums besides?
So I would say painting, oil painting. I got really into that. And then I'm always kind of going back and forth with like the digital stuff and just drawing and then putting in Photoshop and. So I think because like when I was studying graphic design, that's like a lot of the stuff we were doing. And like my drawing kind of always stood out like from like other graphic designs and stuff. So I just kind of stuck with that, and then the painting and the design kind of meshes into its own thing.
Okay, yeah. All right, so like this surrealist style that you have, this because it's very unique, right? Like I can see one of your pieces and I know it's yours, right? Like it's it's fantastic. But was that always the style? I asked about the colors before, but the style in which you paint, did that evolve over time? Because it's, like I said, it's very unique. It's very beautiful. But was that always the case?
It definitely is something I feel like you got to develop, because, early on when I was painting, I was more so just trying to like get the technique of like oil painting and like more so study the technique, and like I'm learning about art history and trying to like study some of the giants of art history. But style, I think even if you're like doing a master copy of another artist, I feel like eventually your own style will start to show through.
Sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it goes back to how I'm kind of like just super expressive with my style.
Yeah, man.
I try to just get like as much like paint on the canvas as possible, because there's going to be a lot of bad ideas. Yeah. So I just try to get those bad ideas out, and I feel like oil painting is pretty forgiving because you can just paint over something else.
Sure.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. Yeah, I dig it, man. Yeah, I really love your artwork, man. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. I want to talk about pop culture for a minute, and if it does influence your artwork at all. I guess you could say sports is sort of pop culture, but what I didn't notice from you that I see, and it's not a bad thing, that I see a lot of artists who want to paint celebrities or paint, memes or, things like that. And it's, there's nothing wrong with that. But you don't really do that. Most of the paintings that I see from you, or, it looks like just original works or just from being outside and, and living, and kind of expressing what you see. Is there a reason why you kind of keep things more original as opposed to, something happens, the world takes notice, and now I got to make a painting of it?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like sometimes I do try to throw in little snippets of like pop culture. Sure. Or maybe just like things that sort of show like the times that we live in, such as like I'll go to like Japantown and take pictures of like the beer packaging or something. Yeah. And sort of throw that in, because I feel like that kind of like shows like the the modern times we live in, where everything's like so commercial and
man. Yeah, you're right about that. What inspires you then? Is it just experiencing life? Is it the people around you? Is it your past that you're recreating? I know it's a lot that I brought up, but what would you say inspires you the most?
That's a good question. I think if I see something I like just walking around, I'll just take a picture. And then I have like a collection of photos that I want to use eventually.
Oh, dope. Okay.
So I'll sort of like just like move around the different files and like see which ones kind of looks good together, or like what colors are working and stuff. But as far as inspiration, it could come from anywhere. Like sometimes I'll watch like a documentary about like Picasso or like Basquiat or something, and then I'm just like so inspired to paint.
Yeah, man.
Or like certain movies or like shows, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I saw sometimes you post about like the inspirations behind the piece. Like I said, there was the Yamamoto, the Japanese avant-garde fashion. Lupin the third. All right.
My favorite.
All right, so tell me about Lupin, man, because I just kind of, my daughter is into anime, and actually my nephew, and he always gives me a list of stuff that I should check out. All right, so what about that show that's I don't know, inspiring to you?
Yeah, so there's the movie like Castle of Cagliostro. It's by like Miyazaki, who did like bunch of other ones. Yeah. So that's my first introduction to Lupin. And then it's just this whole world. Like there's so much like movies and stuff. Yeah. And it's sort of like this like 80s era. It's sort of like, I don't know. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a little raunchy, maybe. I don't know.
Okay,
not like that, but like.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
He's just like this thief, and he's like clever, and he's funny. So I like it, and I don't know. It's just this whole world that I'm into.
Are you into anime, like just in general? Or?
A little bit.
Okay. Yeah, because I know a lot of artists in the anime, and like I said, my daughter watches it, so like every now and again I check it out, and there's a lot of I don't know, man. Like it's the way that they draw, they animate, and then like the movement in those shows. It's amazing, man. It's much different than like the American cartoons I grew up on. Man.
Yeah, it's super weird, and like they have all these like weird, surreal things going on.
Yeah,
super trippy. Yeah,
it's awesome. Okay. All right. So, how would you describe? Oh no! Before I ask that question, are you actively working as a graphic designer right now, or are you? I mean, you say you just graduated. Are you taking some time?
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting work at like this clothing shop just part time.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I'm kind of more focused on like building my clothing brand a little bit, and then the art is kind of just. I don't know. It's, like I try not to like put the art with the money too much.
Yeah, okay.
Like if I sell some paintings, it's cool.
Yeah.
But,
No, I like that, man. That's dope, man. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the clothing for a little bit, right? Because I think it's a good avenue for artists to go into. Now, I've met some older artists who thinks that making merch of your artwork cheapens the art. I don't agree with that. I think that's ridiculous. What does it mean to you though to have your artwork, your designs on your clothes, man? Like how? Yeah.
It's a crazy feeling. Drawing something is one thing, but drawing something and then like having it printed out and then having it into your own clothes that you can wear, like I think that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, man.
And it's really cool. Like I love designing clothes. It's fun. I mean, it's like, so I've always kind of been into fashion, just in general.
Sure.
So it's like, if I can make something that I would want to wear, then I feel like, other people will respond well to it. So that's how I approach it.
Yeah, man. No, that's awesome. Yeah, man. The merch is going to go crazy, man. I already know, man. Guys, all right, I'm calling you right now, okay? The artwork is fantastic. It really lends itself to clothes, man. All right. Okay, I want to talk about, all right, I'm very eager to ask you this question. I ask this a lot, but when do you know when a piece is done? Because with your artwork, it's a lot going on, right? Like, how do you know when you're finished, put the paintbrush down, like, that's it?
That's a good question. Dang, that's a good one. I feel like... just when you've looked at the whole painting and you're like, there's nothing else I would add. But even sometimes, like I'll have a finished piece and I'll like do a post about it, and then I'm like, oh, I should have done this.
Yeah, man. Have you ever gone back and changed something after you thought you were done with a piece?
Usually not. There's a lot of old paintings that I don't even post or anything that I just paint over just completely.
Sure.
I'll just take a picture and then just do a color wash over and just paint it all.
Oh, really?
if I'm just tired of looking at the painting.
Yeah. Okay.
And also like to reuse canvas.
Sure. Okay. Oh, that's true. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. All right. Have there been any significant obstacles that you face as far as maybe doing shows, or as related to like making merch and getting a clothing line set up? Is there anything that you didn't foresee happening? Or also, is there maybe, I always ask about the bad, but maybe you've had some good luck, right? Like maybe some things went your way. Is there either significant obstacles to getting where you need to be, or maybe you've had some breaks and, things have kind of worked out for you a little bit?
Obstacles, I mean, I feel like there's always times where you don't really want to paint, or like you're not feeling it. Yeah,
man.
And I think when that happens, I feel like it's just making sure like your mental health is right. Like some of that's like going for walks and like going to the gym and stuff. I think that's something that's helped me a lot. Other obstacles. I mean, there's definitely obstacles with like trying to get into galleries, and of course.
Yeah. And you're still young.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got time, man. Okay. All right. So since you've been here in LA, have you gone out to see any of the big museums or the smaller galleries downtown? I think you're staying downtown right now. Okay. Now being downtown. Okay. So LA in general has got a million art galleries, right? Like there's a ton, right? As opposed to San Francisco, I mean, it's still a big city. And they're not as big as LA, but they have galleries there too. Is there a different feel to the art scene? Even in Boston, if you knew anything about the art down there, because I found it's a little different wherever you go. I mean, it all boils down to kind of the same thing. You know, you have show openings and things like that. But have you noticed any significant differences in LA and San Francisco? And both West Coast cities. I mean, there might not be too many big differences, but is there anything that you notice?
I mean, my experience in LA, like I went to the One Piece Unique show where I met you actually, and then so I mean that was a really good experience. I actually really liked that.
Yeah, that show was fat, man. I gotta reach out to that guy and interview him. But yeah, it was an interesting thing. So have you ever been of anything that's like that show?
Not in San Francisco, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple where it's like it's like sort of people my age, and there's good energy and stuff. But I think that one is probably one of my favorite shows I've ever done. Yeah.
So do you think that, okay, all right, so I'm planning on doing like a pop-up art show. Right? And I do like the style they did it at Piece Unique. And I know you've probably been to some of the more traditional, gallery show openings and things like that. What differences, because I mean they're very different, but which do you prefer? I guess I could say the younger kind of innovative show that Piece Unique had put on. There was a fashion show. There was a guy wrestling a painting. There was so much. There was so much going on. So do you like that sort of style show better as opposed to the more traditional? There's a DJ maybe. There's beer and wine, and it's a little bit more. At least here in LA, right? Sometimes I go to shows and it's like, I don't think these people are here for the art. You know what I mean? They're kind of here for the scene and the free drinks, right? But that Piece Unique show people were more into it. You know what I mean? What style do you like better? And what do you think maybe complements your art being in a show? Like that kind of wild, young version of the art show or the more traditional style?
Yeah, it's definitely the more wild.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's just like, it's cool, especially what Piece Unique's done. It's such a good community that he's built there. A lot of like-minded people just creating art and stuff. And just the whole the way he focuses on upcycled clothing and everything. Like there's a good message there. Yeah. And I like that style of show. It's fun. It's like good energy there.
Yeah, I think I actually think art shows are gonna start to kind of evolve into something like that. Because I mean, the old style, I mean, it's nice, it's nice to go see the art. Maybe you can meet the artist, but like I said before, I've been to so many shows. And it's me and two other people looking at the art, and everyone else is on their phone or just talking to each other, in line to get drinks. But it's new ways to innovate, especially with an artist such as yourself. You could make an entire show around just your art and have it, all. I'm giving away all my ideas. Hold on, but yeah, it's a nice change of pace, man. And I think with this new generation of artists, things are going to change for the better. Where do you see yourself? And this is a very broad question. Okay, all right. Let's say 10 years, right? Do you think that, or do you hope that the clothing line will maybe not outshine, because the art is part of the clothing, but do you see yourself as more being more of a fashion designer as opposed to just a standalone painter?
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think I'm really into like the streetwear scene, so I could definitely see that getting bigger. And I had a thought about that. I just forgot. I think with the painting, I'm always trying to experiment and just so I try not to like tie myself down to a certain style or anything. But when it comes to the clothing brand, it's more like I gotta treat it more like a business. And
it's
really like create like a brand identity and use certain color palettes or whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, the art is just, but like the fine art that's just like a big like experiment. I just whatever happens.
That's so wild to think. You're so talented, man. Okay, yeah. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
I try to not to the art. I try not to. I really try to just experiment as much as possible with the art and not tie myself down to anything really.
Okay. All right. So I know you talked about going to Vietnam and seeing some of like street clothes there. Where are you, other than just internally? Are you looking to other places for inspiration, like different cultures, like Vietnam, what they're wearing out here, or even in SF? San Francisco's got some pretty fashionable people, man. LA too. You're downtown too. So, what other places are you pulling inspiration for your clothing line that's upcoming?
Definitely Japan, Vietnam.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's a cool streetwear scene that they have over there that just it just looks different. So if I can bring that over here, then I think people are just like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. All right, man. I best wishes too, man. Like I hope, not hope, man. I've got a feeling about this, man. I always have these feelings, and they always come out right. All right. Okay. I'm getting close to the end of this interview here. I got some closing questions I always ask. If you could go anywhere in the world, maybe somewhere that you haven't been, just to be inspired, for painting, for fashion, where would you go?
My first thought is definitely Japan, since I haven't been. Yeah. And that's definitely been a huge source of inspiration. But just to be different, maybe like, maybe like Malaysia or something. Okay. Just to be different.
Yeah, man. Yeah, why not? Yeah. Okay. Is there, excuse me, is there any advice that you wish someone had given you when you had started? And not even just, I guess pertaining to the art and fashion. Is there some advice that you wish that you had had? And also, is there any words of wisdom you'd give to a young up-and-coming artist who happens to see this interview?
Any advice I wish I had? Just be patient. I think definitely keep your mental health in first priority. I think that's probably the most important thing. Because as much as you try to go away from the whole tortured artist thing, sometimes there's days where it's just like why am I doing this? It's just it's tough sometimes. So you got to be patient. And advice for other artists, I think just don't be afraid to try ideas, because there's going to be so many bad ideas and bad canvases or whatever that just don't turn out well. So you got to just get those ideas out.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's I think is important. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Jacob.
Yeah, no, thank you
for your time, man, for coming out to talk to me.
Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. See you next time.
Thank you.
All right, man. Awesome.